there's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder / Gone Rogue Games. So I've been wanting to do one of these videos for a long time. We're coming on, what, like 6 years of opening the store? You can see I've been a lot less active on YouTube since opening the store. But I do want to give a throwback to everyone that has been a subscriber for a long time on Rogue Deck Builder, or if you're even a new subscriber for like Gone Rogue Games, Rogue Market, or even Rogue Deck Builder. It really is what got everything I have started. Was the YouTube channel, was just the awesome support by all the viewers, all the encouragement, the early sponsorships from places like Cool Stuff and whatnot. Those all perpetuated, helped me kind of jumpstart my career to where I am today. So this is kind of a throwback, kind of a nostalgia throwback to some of the good old days of the glory years of Rogue Deck Builder. I'm going to do an auction. What we do over on Patreon is we do things called Bucko's House of Booty, where people can actually auction or they can bid on auctions that we put together. So this one we have a very special one. These are going to be my favorite products and my 10 favorite cards in the history of Magic the Gathering. I think I've done a similar video on this channel before with a From the Vault Rogue Deck Builder. It's changed a little bit since then, but all of the cards I'm going to show you do have a story, and they all have a pivotal role of getting me to where I am today. So I'm going to show my favorite products first, and then we'll talk about the cards. So one thing, as a store owner, I've been able to review a lot of products, had a lot of products come through my store, and got to try them out personally. So these are my personal recommendations for accessories. We have some board games here, and of course the best product is a Rogue Deck Builder or Gone Rogue Games shirt, which will be included in the auction. So don't trip on the dog there. So there's a dog. You can show him the dog that's trying to kill us. You go and plop yourself right there after Talmadge starts recording. Yeah. Insurance fraud right there. Get out of the way, dog. Kick the dog. So anyway, got this set up here with the my favorite products. So again, I've been through so many products. There have been sleeves galore. I've changed my preferences from time in and time out here. But right now, currently in 2021, these are my absolute favorite when it comes to product accessories. So let's go ahead and start off. Let's actually get to the binder last because it's got some goodies in it. So board games. Board games aren't products accessories, but board games are something that I have grown very fond of. When I started playing Magic, I didn't really care for board games, but recently, in the last, I'd say 3 years, I've really got into the board game genre. So the first one is Century Golem. We play a ton of Century Golem here. It's a deck building game. Well, it's a light deck building game. So you're going to be building a deck, very similar to Magic, and then trading resources to then buy golems. And I have a whole review on this. You can go find reviews about Golem. But if you are looking to dip your feet into board games and want a light game, Century Golem is my favorite light game. It gets a ton of play here at the store. Everyone I seem to introduce it to loves the game. I love the game. It has a ton of replayability. It's got that perfect strategy feel to it, but not being too heavy. Highly recommend Golem Edition. This one will be included in the package. Is Kevin's favorite light game. And then we have the mother of all games. We have Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars, I think, is the perfect board game for integrating a lot of different board game kind of cliche kind of board game mechanics in board games all into one package that actually works. You have a tableau economy game. You have a drafting element. You have a kind of a deck building, kind of a hand management type game. Very resource management oriented. You have tile placement, and you have it's just the perfect combination, in my opinion, of like putting a card game and a board game together and a huge resource game. So if you haven't checked out Terraforming Mars, I highly recommend it as well. Yeah, really good game. It's been my favorite board game for a number of years now. There have been a couple times where games like Everdell or Great Western Trail have had my attention more at times, but I always keep coming back to Terraforming Mars. So that being my favorite board game, Terraforming Mars is included in this package. So let's get to the beautiful playmat. I actually like these Gamegenic ones. I think their colors pop. Yeah, I'm not the fan of this little sticker here. This can actually be peeled off though. But the mat quality is fine. This is exactly what you want from a playmat. I think when you get into more high-end playmats to get stitched and whatnot, you start to lose the simplicity of what a playmat actually is. A playmat is to put your cards on them and play. So we branded this one with the RDB. Yellow on black is a color combination I really like. Not even giving a shout out to like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I've always liked yellow on black. It's a cool color combination. I also like green on black, but for this one we chose yellow on black. I think it just pops with the logos here. So we have the RDB. So in here is a treasure trove of goodies of every product. Like I said, this auction is gonna have everything you need to get going. This is a Super Hive. This is by Ultimate Guard. A Super Hive is by far the superior product. Every one of them from Gamegenic makes the dungeon. We have Dragon Shield makes, I think the Nest 300 is very similar to this, maybe not. They also make the Magic Carpets. Ultra Pro makes a thing like this. Dex Protection makes, I think they call them the Battle Chest. I'm not quite sure what the Dex Protection calls them. And you also have, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what we're looking at here. That are the competitors. But Ultimate Guard, I think, is the best one. I think the magnets are superb on this, and they're nice and compact. I think the Super Hive is perfect because it is just the right amount of space for stuff. You don't get huge in those boxes that then won't fit into your backpack or fit kind of bad on the shelf. I like the Super Hive because they do have a little compartment here for whatever you want here, whether it be dice or tokens, and then this one can also be a dice tray or whatever you want in this one. So it's got kind of that separator there. The Archive is very similar with this just kind of removed here, but the Super Hive I think is a very, very good product from Ultimate Guard, and this is comes off to just a really superior product that I highly recommend for something that carries all your deck boxes. So I've got an Ultimate Guard here that we play a Commander League here, and it fits all, I guess they're all spread out here because I've got two of these, fit all my Commander decks in here, and then it's just good to go. I get to decide which Commander deck I get to play, and right there, it includes everything I need. So what else we have in here? So my favorite, let's just go with Perfect Fits. For Perfect Fits, my favorite Perfect Fit is going to be the Dragon Shield Perfect Fit. I think it fits more snug than the rest of them. It's more precise. A lot of times from these other things like Legion or Ultra Pro, you can get some lemons. I haven't really gone through any lemons with the Dragon Shield Perfect Fits. They are a little more expensive, but you kind of get what you pay for with Dragon Shield. It's a very, very superior product. As far as sleeves are concerned, Dragon Shield gets the nod on the sleeves. They are the sleeve kings. Actually, that is a brand. I shouldn't call them another brand, but they are the kings of sleeves when it comes to Magic the Gathering. So my favorite sleeves, going to be just the black mats. So I do like the art, the matte arts too. I do like the brushed as well, but I think just out of the shuffle feel and everything, it's going to be the Dragon Shield black mats. It's got very good quality, very good shuffle feel. Nothing splits on them. They are very durable. And black, my favorite color, pops out in Dragon Shield. Sometimes you get like some dull or some weird coloration on sleeves. They pick up oils or whatnot if you're looking at some of the competitors. Dragon Shield does not. You get everything with Dragon Shields with the sleeves. They are just by far and above the best sleeve on the market. And this has changed over time. I used to be a huge fan of things even like Ultra Pro and thought people would waste money if they actually, spent more money on sleeves. Sleeves are something you should not waste money on. But now definitely my opinion has changed on that. I like having durable sleeves that last a long time. For the deck box, we're going back to Ultimate Guard. This is called Ultimate Guard Boulder. I've mixed a yellow and a black together. I think the black one's actually called Onyx. So Onyx and Amber together to make this one here. So that's something you can do with boulders. You can mix and match them. So that's what I've just done. So this is just a simple deck box. A simple deck box. It's hard. You can hear that there. It's hard. And it protects your cards. We threw these down our whole flight of stairs and it did not come out and all the cards were protected. So we've done some little stress tests of these guys. Really cool. Just simple. If I wanted a more high-end deck box, I do like the Dragon Shield Nest 100s. But for just something that fits nice in here, I think it looks good. Some people may not like kind of the look of this. I think it looks just fine in here. It fits perfect in the Hive. It is my recommendation for a deck box. It's also sort of budget. These aren't they aren't crazy expensive. I think Patreon price of these is $6. So again, Patreon price of these suckers too are I think $6 for Dragon Shield and $3 for Perfect Fits. And I don't know what the board games are and whatnot. So we got something cool in here. We have a 3D printed skull dice tray that Zach has painted up, and it's got two of these Chess X yellows in it. I didn't know what type of dice people prefer, but if you play D&D, this is going to give you a set of everything you need for D&D. And then if you're playing like Magic, what I like to use for life counters is just the 2d10s. So I think 2d10s is the best way to keep track of your life. Then in this set, you also get some things to take care of counters with like the d6s and anything else that you might want to run in here. So we got these yellow ones that you can put in this cool little dice cup here that Zach has painted and made here in the skull, kind of going on the rogue deck builder kind of pirate feel to it there. So that's what we have included in the good old Ultimate Guard. Again, these are my favorite products. So you're taking home a little bit of Kevin, I guess. I guess that's for what that's worth. And last but not least, definitely not last but not least, now I've got some explaining to do with this sucker. So my favorite binders are actually the decks. So decks gets the nod for binders. I think that they have like kind of the best stitching in here. I just like the material. I mean, not that big of a deal. Like Ultimate Guard decks and Gamegenic are pretty much equal. They have good things and bad things about them. But Dex gets my nod for my favorite binder of all time. It just zips up really well. It's got great quality pages of sleeves here. I kind of like this inner kind of velvety material here for the red. Kind of pops out here. And the pages are just really good and they're high quality in the Dex. So Dex is my favorite binder out of all the binders on the market. So we branded this one black on yellow with the Gone Rogue Games logo. Maybe we should have done with our RDB logo, but I think Gone Rogue Games too is this. You're taking a piece home of kind of my whole Magic career here. So of course the store is going to be part of that. So in here we've got a top 10 cards for Rogue Deck Builder. All the cards that I have always these are all going to tell a story. They all played a role in getting me to where I'm at. So first of all, let's go over Death Cloud. Death Cloud was one of the first decks that I ever brewed. That I took the time to try to break a format. This was clear back in, I think it was Mirrodin days, where I was using a card called Oversold Cemetery, and so was it Odyssey and Mirrodin. And this is the first time I really tried to play competitively, and I was very successful on MTGO with this deck when everyone was running like Arcbound Ravagers, and man, it's been ages. I can barely remember. There was like a Sly deck at the time. I love it, but it's Death Cloud, and you basically wipe the board, and then you'd be able to get stuff back because your enchantment stayed, and I had other ways to get lands back, and it's just a really, really cool card that each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacrifices X creatures, and sacrifices X lands. And I had a lot of payoffs. It was kind of a rock reanimation deck or value-based deck, and it really got the brewing juices going to where I wanted to think outside the box and break formats. So this is years before Rogue Deck Builder was even thought of, but I would say this was the card that hooked me on kind of building decks and brewing decks with Death Cloud. All right, on to the next one is Magnavor. Magnavor was my second stint at Magic the Gathering. Magnavor was a card that at the time too, there was basically a two-trick pony deck. This is during Kamigawa and I believe Ravnica block, and everyone was running a Kokosho. There was a Kokosho reanimation deck that just kept cycling through Kokoshos, and then there was a white. I want to say it was Glare of Subdual was the card that tapped down creatures. And Yosei, so you'd sack Yosei and Glare of Subdual and you could lock down your opponent's stuff. And I was playing a Wildfire Magnavor deck. And Magnavor was just the bulkiest of bulk trash card. No one gave it credit for what it was. It's a star spell which has haste, and the power and toughness is equal to the number of sorcery cards in your graveyard. So I was running a lot of cards I could. Homagers. The whole theory was to be up to 8 mana, slap a Magnavor and slap a Wildfire. Hopefully, and during that format, Wildfire would take care of all the permanents. Magnavor would stick around, it'd take care of all their lands, and then you just kill them with Magnavor. So it would be the last thing standing on the battlefield, and then you can just win the game there. It was when I remember Top, since his Divining Top was a 4 of in every deck, and so was Jit. It was like everything was Jit and top decks and ways to kind of really grind out your opponents. But lands were super important in that format. There wasn't any aggro-based strategy, so if you could actually wipe the board and establish a Magnavor, a lot of times you won the game. And so this was kind of the ones where I was able to locally actually break the local meta with this and be very successful. And it made a lot of people kind of salty because it's the same thing. They'd show up to F&M acting like it's the Pro Tour every time, and we had a lot of tryhards at the shop I played at, and they'd get so mad when I'd bring my decks, the decks that weren't net decks, or net decking wasn't as big a thing as it was, now, but it still was. I guess it was. I guess it really was at that point. And they'd get so salty when I'd bring them a Magnavor deck. So again, it solidified that I could be successful with brewing decks, and that's always been, my forte here in Magic the Gathering. So Magnavor is another one I've chosen for the history of Rogue Deck Builder. Now we're going to go on to a Tally. A Tally is a card that I've just been... I thought I'd include a commander card. I think this is my favorite commander ever, is a Tally Primal Storm. Yeah, that's super popular. I get it. I get with taking extra attack phases and stuff. But about all the shenanigans I've ever done in Commander, all the brewing I've really done and found some kind of wonky combos with the Tally and things to do, this one really was that people were so sick of, I just made a tally where I didn't have any win conditions in my deck. I guess a tally really is. So most of the things, if my opponents got mad, if I was going to do anything to them with broken stuff, it was their stuff that I was hitting off the top. So a tally is one of my favorite commanders of all time. I thought it'd be necessary in Rogue Deck Builder, at least pay homage to the pretty girl here of a tally and give the credit there where credit is one of my favorite design cards as far as a commander card as well. So a collection would definitely not be complete without the REF Champion. REF Champion is of course a Soul Sister, but it was my take on Soul Sisters. I did not invent Soul Sisters. I was late to the party. It existed before I played competitively, but when Modern came around, I started to build a lot of Soul Sisters because in my local store there was a lot of Burn and there was a lot of Jund. And Jund actually had a pretty good matchup with Soul Sisters, except REF Champion. REF Champion at the time just absolutely dominated the Jund and the Jeskai control matchups. And it also still did very well against Mono Red. And so REF Champion was my flavor. There wasn't anyone that was really running REF Champion. So REF Champions at the time was played in a tokens deck, but they weren't playing it in a Soul Sisters deck. And it was a 4 of include in my main that actually won me a PTQ. And it was the Pivotal card. It was definitely the best card in my deck during that PTQ that I was able to just that hex, basically protection from black and red, not being able to be destroyed with abrupt decays and targeted with a lot of, I mean, this thing could chump block some really big creatures like Death Shadows and stuff. I don't think Death Shadow was a thing at the time when I won my PTQ, but there were a lot of other cards that REF Champion just blanked, completely blanked, and they had to deal with it. And it was kind of, it reaffirmed that there are still a lot of, even in an established deck, there's still a lot of like innovation that can occur. I'm all about innovating. I'm all about, you know, trying things new. And this, again, solidified the fact that A, I was good enough to do it, and B, there was a lot of room for people like me in the Magic the Gathering kind of community for innovating and brewing decks. So, of course, we're talking about Soul Sisters. We got to talk about the sisters. So Soul Ward and Soul Attendant are in this collection as well. It got me a PTQ. It was by far, I'm still known as like the Soul Sisters player. I still think that credit goes to like Gavin Verhey, that was inventor of Soul Sisters, or another person that we shall not name now because of stuff. You can go Google Soul Sisters and who else played that one. But anyway, Soul Ward and Soul's Attendant, these are great cards with the Soul Sisters. You know, won me a lot of Modern games, got me that PTQ, and I don't know where I'd be without that PTQ, actually. I don't know if I would have just flamed out of Magic and went on to other stuff. So these two cards, of course, are going to be in the collection. Now let's talk about Waste Not. This was a community-designed card. It just proves that the community can design better cards than the trash designers at Magic the Gathering right now. Talmadge and I are going to do a video about, man, some cards I'm super salty about in Standard right now. And it's not salty about overpowered cards. It's salty about underpowered cards that Wizards just missed the mark on this, a couple of these runs. I'm not going to spoil the video, but really fun cards right now in Standard. And it's just like, did they not see this? Like, how did they not see that this didn't work the way they intended it to with another Mythic in the set that they printed that they obviously wanted? Never mind. We'll get to it when we get to it with it. But yeah. So anyway, Waste Not though. Design by the community. This card was one of the cards that I just went crazy with in Modern trying to break. So Waste Not, you can go back and just Google Waste Not Modern, Rogue Deck Builder. You'll find tons of video of me just being obsessed with this card. I think this is my favorite design card of all time. Very popular card. It's got expensive too. I should have spec'd into more of these stupid things. Magic's has got insanely expensive. Anyway, that is my favorite card ever designed. It deserves an inclusion. Next up is Epic Experiment. Epic Experiment absolutely needs to be in this collection because this is the card that made the YouTube channel kind of go wild. It hit the algorithm perfectly. People were Googling it. It was my first really successful MTGO deck or deck that I ever showcased on my YouTube channel, where I was able to do some very top finishes at the time with this. You can go back to old Rogue Deck Builder to see the Epic Experiment decks. I had a different personality back then. I definitely wasn't as rambunctious as I am now. I was a lot more shy on YouTube and reserved, and it's kind of fun to watch those videos again and see how my personality's kind of grown more, I don't know, more arrogant, more pompous since then, for lack of a better description. But yeah, fun little card, Epic Experiment. I was obsessed with it. Definitely deserves a slot in this set. Next up, can't talk about Rogue Deck Builder without the card that started it all. So I've told this story before about how Rogue Deck Builder came to be, but the TLDR is I was in a tournament in round 3. I played a Chancellor of the Tangle, and the whole theory of my deck was to hopefully have an opening hand of Chancellor of the Tangle so I could get 2 mana dorks out, and then I could cast Hero Blade Hold on the following turn. So what was so good about Hero Blade Hold is it dodged Slagstorm as a 3/4. So the decks that were going around right now all were running like Slagstorms, or little weak Pyroclasm type removal spells to sweep the board, because aggro was a thing. There was a zombies deck, I believe, that was very low to the ground, and there was an infect deck. So if they wiped the board, then they just won the game, because Primal Titans were coming out pretty soon after that. This deck was, Hero Blade Hold was not only durable enough to survive those board wipes, but it was fast enough to race Primeval Titan. It attacks for 3, puts in 2 more 1/1s that are 2/0s, or 2s. They attack for a ton of damage. The next turn you attack even for more damage with Battle Cry, and you are in great shape at that point after that board wipe. So that was the whole theory. You could also get a Garruk Relentless out, quick 2 that could take over the game, or it could just get a sword out, and then a sword could equip to a bird. And if it's a Sword of War and Peace, and it had protection from red or any other mana dork at that point, and it's going to do enough damage because the opponent can't empty their hand quick enough. So that was a theory, and it won me that entire tournament. But on round number 3, my opponent was so salty that I got it off on turn number 1, both games, that he slammed in his chair and just screamed at me, basically, to shout at me that I wasted his money, I wasted everyone else's time in this tournament, and I wasted my own money because there's no way that I was going to win this tournament with my stupid rogue deck. And that's kind of the first turn I really heard that term, rogue deck, and it just caught. It was so catchy, just rolled off the tongue, rogue deck. And so I went home and I created the channel Rogue Deck Builder. Didn't do anything for like a year and a half on the channel with it, but I was just so inspired by that term, and I wanted to recreate that scenario of making these super spikes salty because someone dared play Magic in a different way than was the acceptable way to play the top tier decks only. You know, smash Primeval Titans into each. I think Primeval Titan at that point was over 60% of the meta was what we were expecting with the Primeval. And that's why Delver went insane after that, because Delver had a great matchup versus Primeval Titan. Anyway, I digress. Whew. Next up is going to be Immortal Servitude. Immortal Servitude, of course, has to have a place in this because it's twofold. This was the card I top decked to win the PTQ, at least, or it was in the semifinals. No, it was in the top 8. So in the top 8, the first round, the top 8, I was down material. My opponent was just about to win. There was one card in my deck that could win the game, Immortal Servitude. Immortal Servitude came back, got back all of my 2 drops, which was 4 Squadron Hawks were in the graveyard. I think there was 2 or 3 Arc Champions in the graveyard, and there was a Johnny's Pride Mates in the graveyard. Brought back all my 2 drops. My Johnny's Pride Mates got massive, and I was able to then take the game over the following turn, gain that perfect amount of life to really go up, stabilize. I think my opponent had me on lethal, and so this card not only won me that, but it also was another deck that I made, which was running like Blood Artists and Rats, like Ravenous Rats that discarded cards. That was the first deck that I made that was showcased on Wizards of the Coast website. So LSV actually wrote an article on my rogue deck of the Immortal Servitude. I'll have to find it and link it to you. And it was just another thing that just proved that it was good enough for a pro like LSV to actually pay attention to it. And the only reason they were able to see it is I did 5-0, and so it did hit that little ticky mark of winning the 5-0 tournament. So it posted the list on Wizards. And then someone like LSV actually picked it up and actually wrote about it, which was kind of cool. Again, justifying that I thought it was good enough to create something different, and my servitude was good for the community. Is that the right way to say servitude? I was immortalized in my... shut up, Talmage. And last of all, the best card ever printed by far, Marionette Master. It is now my new favorite card. Marionette Master, it's not that old in Magic the Gathering. As far as Rogue Deck Builder is concerned, the Marionette Master combo with the God Pharaoh's Gift, my favorite deck I've ever brewed, hands down. Nothing even comes close to it. This, I think, is the kind of the what's the word for the... I want to say climax, but that's the wrong word I'm looking for, Talmage, for... Pinnacle, there we go, of Rogue Deck Builder. The pinnacle of Rogue Deck Builder was Marionette Master, where I had so much fun with this deck, so much fun with this card. It went on an insane win streak. We were talking about like a bunch of 5-0 finishes. I think I did 7 5-0 finishes in a row with this deck, and a bunch of 4-1s. And it was funny because that first 7-0 felt so good because I kept getting 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, and then I finally got a 5-0, and then I replicated it over and over with this Marionette Master combo. So it was just my first one that I broke the meta with. I had a lot of fun with this card. And yeah, I'm always trying to compare. That's kind of my success is my downfall, because every deck I've made since then, I've always tried to compare it to the Marionette Master. So is what it is, but it's my favorite card ever printed. So kind of funny here, we have like the old top 10s of 2014, 2015. I'm kind of sad that I quit doing them, but you can kind of see some of them on here. Funny how Immortal Servitude is number 2 here, but Hidden Strings was higher. I guess I could have named Hidden Strings.
Too.
And a higher than Epic Experiment, huh? Yeah. There's Epic and Immortal Servitude that are on this list. Yeah, a lot of these do have a lot of history. I do remember making these decks. I wish I would have kept up with this, with the Unexpected Rose. Remember that guy too.
Waste Not's number 1 over here.
Yeah, Waste Not is number 1 over there. What else was in that one? Underworld Cerberus. Yeah, love that card. In the various decks too. Night Howler had a really good reanimation deck. With Night Howlers, I almost fall over and kill myself here. So yeah, I should try to redo this. But again, lots of history. Like, I still play, still dabble. I kind of miss doing the YouTube, full time like I used to. Of course, you can see the store is just really. I guess Talmadge can kind of pan around to our mess on the store here. The store's really taken off. We've done quite successful here with the store. So that kind of takes more of my time than YouTube now. But I mean, Magic did play a role in that, and I'm happy to, still have this Patreon service to give people cheap Magic products and give back kind of the community. So again, that's what this auction is for. This is a little some shameless self-promotion here of our Patreon. This is how you do have to be a patron to bid on this auction. I don't know what we'll start the auction at here. I usually try to do the cost of everything, so we try to just at least recuperate all the costs and let the community decide how much this stuff is worth. So again, it's gonna be the T-shirt. I don't know why I did orange here. It should be yellow, but it is what it is. I guess it matches the Terraform Mars. We have my 2 favorite board games, all the products I like, the Ultimate Guard, the Dex Binder, the Dragon Shield sleeves, the Rogue Deck Builder playmat, all that kind of stuff in this auction. So if you've been a fan, if you've always wanted some memorabilia, I can sign this stuff for you. It's always, it's good to go down memory lane with this sort of stuff. Still brewing, still creating content on the various channels. We'll try to revive the channels if I ever get time again. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to some of the rant videos that Talmadge are going to do about design. That's mainly been one of the big reasons too, is I just don't feel like Magic is Magic anymore. It's a lot harder to brew decks when there's just duck cards like Embercleave in the format that all roads lead to Embercleave, all roads lead to Emerger's Ultimatum, or Yorion. That's the biggest culprit right now in Standard. And Modern and Pioneer are just as bad, where you have these, these cards that are so format defining that it's hard to move away from them. So I wish they get back to more balanced Magic where we have options. I still think that the best time in Magic the Gathering was Innistrad RTR. That was the best format ever. And we've had some good ones and some bad ones in between them, but right now it's still one of the worst standards. And worst modern Pioneer historic standard environments in a long time, because of cards like Companions and things that I think have just really shifted the way Magic the Gathering is played. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video though. Go check out Patreon if you're interested. You just have to be a $2 or above patron to actually get Discord access and to bid on auctions. But there are some really good benefits. I don't think I've had very unhappy patrons that haven't used their benefits. You make your money back quite quick on that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. You can go, if you like these type of Buckos auctions, we do these weekly. We do these auctions. A lot of times they're sealed product. They're Pokemon. What's that stupid game that everyone likes called? Flesh and Blood. I just lost subscribers right there because I called their game stupid. But we need to play it to see if it actually is stupid. And then, what was I saying? Yeah, Gonro Games, we always do auctions here on Buckos. So, or for Buckos. That's all we have. See you later.